Hi, this is Rick Kostev, and we're meeting with Chaparral Poets again. And the date is April 27th, 2025. We have a small intimate group with some dear friends. I'm Rick Costa, and I have here as our guest reader one of the Chaparral members herself, Sue Daly. Sue Daly's poetry has been featured in several literary journals and anthologies. Her chapbook, A Voice at Last, was published in 2017 by Dad's Desk Publishing Company. Her poetry collection, Language of the Tea Leaves, was published by Cold River Press in 2021. I have a copy of that. Sue has facilitated writing groups in Sacramento, California for several years. She is currently preparing her third collection of poetry. For more information about her books and workshops, contact Sue at jtwnana7@gmail.com. And we'll put that in the chat later too. So I give you my dear friend, Sue Daly, who is she and her late husband were responsible for reigniting my interest in poetry. So the reason why I am here is due to Stephen and Sue, and I'm very grateful. And they put up with me for many years now. Sue, take it over.
And that goes two ways, Rick.
That's true.
So welcome everybody. I'm glad to be here to read for you today. Again, my name is Sue Daly, and I'd like to read a couple of poems in honor of my late husband, Stephen Daly. So I'm going to read a couple of his poems. The first one is entitled Swept Away. Music speaks to me in its own language. Classical melodies lift my downcast soul. Brahms' Requiem moves through me, takes me to heavenly realms when I sing along. I reminisce with songs from the 60s, days of surf and sand with the Beach Boys. Their magnetic energy pulls me in. Once again, I'm that shy boy afraid to ask a girl to dance. Sinatra's songs have great pizzazz. I can enjoy New York and Chicago from a distance. His fabulous breath control and enunciation are beyond compare. A tune with clever lyrics can sweep me away, make an ordinary day glorious, light up my world, capture my soul. And that was,
Thank you,
thank
Sue.
you. That was one of the greatest things that Stephen had an affection for, was music of all kinds, all sorts. This one by Stephen is called A Friendship. We paddled out to wait for waves when I surfed for the first time. My friend Dirk there. While camping in Canada, we laughed in a leaking, flooded tent. We were there. We talked into the night, sharing stories and wisdom. Somewhere in the conversation, he decided to propose to his girlfriend and become a minister. God was there. I ushered at their wedding, visited after each child was born, kept in touch through the years. I was there. When I first heard he was ill, I agonized over how to help. I watched him fade away. He was only 32. Cancer was there. He only wanted positive words spoken around him. He believed God would heal him. He preached until the end. Death was there. At his service, many remembered him as a kind and inspiring man. I gave his wife a little money when no one was looking. Love was there. Thank you. So that was from Stephen, and I'll read you before we reminisce into the books I have. I'll read you a couple of fairly new ones. And I believe both of these were in Song of the San Joaquin. The Other Side of Winter. She grants her gentle grace once more. Miniature buds command bitter skies to vanish, announcing your services are no longer required. Our Lady of Spring unmasks her face, tinged with a gilded glow. Jasmine breezes begin to blow the morning clouds away. We'll trudge this trail for now, pretend the other side of winter is just out of sight, a little up ahead, a stone's throw away. Thank you. This
There's
one is,
somebody else has joined us too. They're lurking. I'm not sure who that is.
oh, they're shy. That's all.
Welcome.
This one is called Rest Assured, actually written from my sister Gail. After a few prayers and 239 tears, I was able to begin Thursday without you. I came across a poem about angels and stars and death, something you may have liked, but I can't be sure. Are you now among the stars, or an angel singing with a halo and shiny new wings? Perhaps you're only out of town, like the morning mist, set to return at sunrise. Drop me a line and weigh in, if you find the time. I hear eternity is crammed with a myriad of things: ice cream socials, signs and wonders, stars, and the like. Rest assured, I'll be listening.
Love that. Thank you.
Sure.
Is that Depati?
Yes. Hi, Rick. Hi,
Hey.
Sue.
Hi,
Hi,
nice to
Celeste.
see you.
Great to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Thanks
After
for
a long
joining.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll read a couple from my chapbook, A Voice at Last.
Mhm.
Let's see what I marked here. Oh my goodness. Well, I see here one dedicated to Rick, so maybe I should read that. Unspoken for Rick. Left unspoken. Rhyme without reason. Love for a season. Left unspoken. Words made of dust. Time tested trust. Left unspoken. Grief without end. Wounds of a friend. Okay. So the next one's kind of, thank you, kind of fun. It's what happens when you watch too much sci-fi TV. This
Is that
is,
possible?
I just said it's what happens. I didn't say any negative or positive connotation, but that's what happened to me. It's called Bermuda Triangle. Eclipse clouds our view, a perfect glowing circle. Compass spins wildly, instruments are jammed. Volcano bellows on distant island, threatens to spill its wrath. Time-shifting fog engulfs us in a mesmerizing haze. We step off the abyss and walk into the legend. How far have we drifted? We have no way of knowing. We look for the North Star, search for the Southern Cross. Anything to find our bearings, anything to light our way home.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And this one is one of the first ones I got published in the Poetry News, Sacramento Poetry Center magazine. And it was in real print, actually, before they went to an electronic publication. Once I turned, warm water. I'm just off today. Once I turned, warm waves tease black cliffs with furtive caresses, while the sky strokes herself to sleep. Shadows of milky purple stretch across the day's ending. Two gulls climb to unknown regions, No boundaries contain these partners. Their cries of freedom circle in my brain, and recalling the laughter I knew as a child, I fly too. Once I ran on unbridled across soft sands, my child spirit whirling and rising with the gulls. I stooped to kiss the water, tasting tears with the foam. The sand curves coolly beneath my knees, hollowing out smooth spaces to receive me. I am healed, washed clean, bathing in the water, the water. I'm going back to find the cliffs, the waves, the sky's nighttime shades, to share in wounded wonder days passed on a beach where once I turned to dance with God.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, I'll read one more called Migration. I have no poems to speak of, none to read, none to write, none to edit or embellish, nothing heavy, nothing light, none advancing or leaving for a distant shore. I stand empty handed with this and nothing more. Nothing pithy, nothing witty, no endings or beginnings, with nothing in between. No ideas on the horizon, not even a glimmer. All my poems have flown south for the winter. And I'll read a few from Language of the Tea Leaves,
Mhm.
my current book out. Flood. The river surged, carried us away in a flash. The sea forgave, buried our wounds beneath the blue. Our petty posturing of no consequence as hair silvers. Summon the poets. Charlatans are everywhere, promising everything in an instant, anything we might desire. Magic spells won't keep me from harm. Amulets won't bring unearned blessings. Who can tell my future with a cup of tea? Better to summon the poets. I'd rather read Whitman than tea leaves.
Love that.
Thank you. Chasing eternity. Time chases eternity, and like the white rabbit, I often arrive late for a very important date. Eternity chases time. What do I hope to find on this round rock of blue and green? Maybe a secluded space hidden among the trees where I fall down on my knees, pray to God, my gratitude for a chance to dance with uncertainty, with eternity.
Nice.
Thank
Mhm.
you. This is one I wrote during the pandemic. I actually have a little epilogue in the back of this book for poems I wrote during the pandemic. Here in the dark. I have forgotten to tell you a story. I knew it by heart once. I could recite it from memory. It's the road I need to follow. I knew the beginning and ending, all the twists and turns, the tunnels and harrowing escapes. It's the road I need to follow. I have misplaced its message, the cadence and rhymes, the pairing of words and emotions. It's the road I need to follow. I have forgotten to tell you a story. We need to hear it here in the dark. I wish I could remember the words. It's the road I need to follow.
Mm.
Lovely.
Thank
Mhm.
you. This one's called Reclamation. Life is queen in the world of women who see it with charity, benevolence, and reclamation of the soul. Spring leaves dewdrop by dewdrop, clearing the path for summer to follow. Summer, though fair and golden, scorches the earth with heat. These women won't abide talk of daydreams and dilemmas, unimportant to mention here, where kindness is generous, tender, and relenting. Huh. Blizzard. Fierce, icy winds blow through me. Am I hollow or merely invisible? Stumbling through whiteout chaos. Am I gaining ground or walking in circles? Snow blind in the storm. I can't see my way home. Am I rewriting the past or predicting my future? Do we have time for another one?
Absolutely.
Okay. Nearing home.
Mhm.
Love, we have been here before. Hiked that rugged mountain of pain, limped down the other side. Tornadoes and torpedoes crashed without warning, and we survived. Love, we'll survive this too. This new Armageddon simmers, threatens to boil over at any time, drown us in scalding water. Love, it is only fear. We've faced fear before. We can face it again. We live in the pause of now. Today is our watchword, our single hope. Keep treading water. Don't look back or you'll go under. We're nearing home, love. How high is heaven's gate? How innocent all who enter. All for us, love. All for us.
Mm.
Mm,
That's lovely.
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you very much.
Do you have a particular creative process, Sue, when you go to write?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, oftentimes I'll hear a line in my head, and it's usually the last line of the poem.
Mhm.
Interesting enough. Or I'll hear a title and jot it down. And I
Mhm.
know this is going to be the title of this poem. And oftentimes it is not the title of the poem. However, it gets me going and spurs me to write. Reading poetry is always wonderful too for that. Song lyrics, any kind of art, whether it's music or a painting or
As a prompt.
yes, as a prompt, and or fiction, nonfiction. I just get ideas from everywhere. Even I've overheard a conversation in a coffee shop quite
Mhm.
innocently, and I got a thought for a poem, and I jotted it down. So sometimes that will turn into what I call like a skeleton of a poem,
Mhm.
just bare bones, so to speak. And then later, when I have time or I need something for the next poetry class, I'll put some flesh on the bare bones and polish it up. So pretty pretty crazy haphazard way of coming about it, but I'll get ideas for poems. And then of course there's poetry teachers who challenge me to write in form, say a sonnet or any kind of rhyming scheme, that sort of thing. That is always fun to try new forms out.
Mhm. Thank you.
Sure. I can share a little bit about my first, the chapbook published by Dad's Desk Publishing Company. Carol Louise Moon is the head of that company, and she helped me through. That was the very first thing I got published as in any kind of book form, and she helped me through it. And
What did the process involve for a chapbook?
well, I had a lot of different poems that were not. I never thought of combining them into kind of a more fluid body of work. And she told me, just throw out any ideas you have of how to do it and start anywhere. Start at the end, start at the middle, start with a poem that you don't even think would be worthy of the book. Just start anywhere and start making a regular appointment every day to write. And that was pretty hard to do because I am pretty busy. So morning or evening tended to be the time I would write, or like I say, polish, revise. And I started with the title poem, A Voice at Last, that I had written several years ago. And it just came about. And she was very helpful. I tried to, in the chapbook, I think there's 25 poems. And I tried to intersperse some of the heavier poems with some of the lighter ones so that it didn't sound like the whole book was a dirge. And like I've kind of tried to do today, to try and put in some humorous ones as well as some more serious poems. So it's obvious I like writing poetry. It nourishes my soul. Reading poetry also is just, I always have poetry. Let's see, right here, over here on my bedside table as well. Sometimes I use poetry as a devotion, and it spurs me on to prayer. Sometimes lyrics and verse are so beautiful that it really touches me, and in turn I want to express my gratitude to Creator, and that also nourishes my spirit. Yeah.
So it's the dream of a lot of poets to get published and actually have even a bound book. There are some people that do chapbooks, but not many people go and get published in a book. What was your journey, and what were some of the technical things that you faced in doing that?
Well, it's interesting how the book Language of the Tea Leaves got started. I was very involved with Sacramento Poetry Center, and Dave Bowles of Cold River Publishing often came once or twice a year and set up shop outside the center on a beautiful day, and he would have all kinds of poetry books there by local authors, and he's a champion of local authors. And I remember talking to him once or twice and saying, "Oh, yeah, I think I'm getting a chapbook together." And then I showed him the chapbook when it was finished, and he was, he's always been very encouraging and that sort of thing. And so I thought, well, I have one chapbook. Next time he comes, I will ask him about if he could publish another one for me. And I went up to him and I asked him, and he said, "No, not a chapbook. I want a full-length collection from you, Sue. I know you can do it." And I
Mhm.
was so surprised. And it turned out to be 80 poems.
Mhm.
And I couldn't quite believe it. But he had a lot of good input about the technical parts of poetry, how to organize the standards, even how sometimes free write begs for things to be capitalized, where I used to write a lot uncapitalized, and kind of showed me some tricks like that that I wouldn't have thought of on my own, definitely.
Mhm.
And then I wanted to uh, I wanted to write a full length book, but I had no idea how to organize my poems in the book. And so he suggested, well, some of my writers have put in sections in the book.
Mhm.
And I said, oh, that's interesting. And then he says, how did you come up with language of the tea leaves? And I said, well, it's the title poem. And what's interesting is, to me, is I had the title in my mind of the book. I
Mhm.
didn't write the poem for several months after that. And I don't know how that happened. It was strange, but
Well, sometimes those things just sort of bubble under the surface in our consciousness. They just
yeah. And
percolate up.
I knew I wanted to write a poem, but didn't quite understand what it would turn into. And then when the poem came, it was very stream of consciousness and that sort of thing. Can I read it to you?
Mhm.
I'll read you the title poem of Language of the Tea Leaves. Let's see. Should be on the first page. That's how we wrote it. Language of the tea leaves. She sips slowly, captures sunshine in her hair, brushes it from her face, sees her tears in the tea leaves, drifting down to the bottom of the cup, arranging themselves into intricate, delicate patterns, as if trying to convey a message of supreme importance about her future, perhaps an end to the strange misadventure threatening to overwhelm her, now sinking deeper, oblivious to captured sunshine and the mysterious language of tea leaves. So it turns into this poem about this young lady, and we don't get to know what her misadventure is. We don't get to know why she's crying and dipping her tears into the cup. Um, but then it ends with the tea leaves speaking to her somehow mysteriously. So in the book, the first section is called Language of the Teas. Um, I'm trying to find the illustrations. My friend did really nice illustrations. The next section is Bitter Herbs.
Mhm.
And the
Did the
last
same
section,
artist do the that
yeah,
illustration also?
yeah, she did the sketches. And the last section is When I Dreamed. So it was really a work that I didn't think was possible. Didn't think was probable then. I wondered if I would ever finish the edits, and it just kept moving along until it was through. And then I never thought I'd see it. Really, it was just like I was incredulous every step. And then all of a sudden, I had 25 copies in my living room, and there we go.
Mhm. How much does it cost to get the, I know you have to purchase the UPC code.
Uh, you mean the ISBN?
Hmm.
Um, I do not know. That was Dave's department. I'm not sure it was a cost. I do know that now my book's in the Library of Congress. Who'd have thought?
Awesome. Yeah. And I know that I'm sure you would recommend that everybody launch their book during the pandemic.
Yes, of course. No, it was very difficult to get readings because, of course, people weren't gathering in crowds. I did have a couple of book launches. Um, and the first one was in 100 plus degrees in the SPC's parking lot. So not well attended. The second one was much better. And I sold some books, but then after that, I just couldn't get readings. I did try several online readings, and that was fun and interesting. But it was also hard to generate a few sales
Mhm.
for people to remember to email and to find out about it. It's a little easier for them to just purchase a book at a reading. So, anything else I can answer, Rick, or anyone else?
Yeah, does anybody have any questions for Sue about publication? Is it expensive to get into it?
No, not really. Um, it depends on how you go, which type of publisher you use, and if you're willing to submit to different publishers and that sort of thing. Since I had gotten started with Dave, I wanted to, of course, continue doing that, and to there was no initial cost or anything when I wanted to purchase some books and sell them myself. There was some printing cost involved, but modest. It was not anything big. It was
Okay.
just, to pay for shipping and things like that.
That's good to know. Anybody else have a question for Sue?
Sure. Yeah.
And get your poems ready too for the open mic.
Oh, that's right, you
I
guys.
have to open the door for my cat. She who must be obeyed.
Yes.
Okay, come on in.
So I know, Celeste, you were thinking about collecting some poems for a chapbook, maybe. Do you have some that are ready that you could put in a document?
I
You know, like,
do. I
good.
do. And I don't know if I was thinking about approaching Dave Bowles,
Mm-hmm.
but he probably would want not a chapbook, but a full book. And I've been doing this for like over 25 years, and I
Mm-hmm.
got a lot of poems. I got like at least 100 poems.
Mm. So you need
Maybe
to drill
50 to
down on those.
100.
Mhm.
So I need a what?
You might need to drill down on those and come up with, for a chapbook, it's usually 20 to 25 poems. The
Mhm.
other thing is there are all kinds of contests out there to publish your chapbook and give you a certain amount of copies, that sort of thing. And then there's lots of publishers who do just publish chapbooks. So that might be a way to go too, to shop it around and send your manuscript around is an idea to get started. I recommend that. And it doesn't seem so ominous having 20 poems together as having 50 plus, but everybody wants to do their own thing, and that's great.
So shop around and send manuscripts to different publishers and seeing which one
Right. It's a
would
two-way
be willing.
street. It's a two-way
Yeah.
street on that shopping around. You want to find out what kinds of poetry the magazine or journal you're submitting to usually features in their books, and a lot of them are online too. You can get an idea just from one copy. So you want to think about, well, would my poetry kind of match the style of poems that they're used to publishing? And that's one way to do it. And then by shop around, I also mean by sending your manuscript out to several publishers so that they can kind of shop what you're doing, what your work is like. And then, of course, that every place has their own submission guidelines. And so you really have to read those carefully before you submit. And each one is a little different too.
Mhm. There are also some options for like a print on demand, like if somebody's purchasing it from something like Amazon, And I know that when we did the It's Better to Laugh, the comedy, light writing, satirical writing that we published at Chaparral. We went through a company called Digipod back east. And I think for 100 copies, I think it was something like $800, if I'm not mistaken.
There's another one called Book Baby. There's several now that where you can get into sort of semi self-publishing. You work with a company who's going to do the printing and shipping and so forth. And then you supply the poetry. And then, of course, if it's a hit and it takes off, you want to get more of those print on demand kind of things. And again, I would say try to find a mentor if you're, looking to publish. The obvious thing too that I haven't mentioned or we hadn't thought of is publishing just one poem in a journal or a collection, a review or something like that. And that the best way to do that, I believe, is to go through the Submittable. It's an online platform where you can submit your poems, of course, but then you only have to do your personal information and your bio one time. It'll be in there for the next place you want to submit to. And the great thing is that they have all kinds of work done for you in the sense that it tells you a list of journals that you might want to try. And, they have different genres of fiction and poetry and that kind of thing. So I did several of those too. And it kind of got me going and got me inspired. Well, if this place likes this poem, maybe this place will like two or whatever, and things like that.
So
how do you submit again to journals and things like that?
How do you
do that?
You would register with the Submittable is the easiest way. You could try to read, you still need to read different entities' submission guidelines, but Submittables will give you a great selection of journals if you don't know where to start. And then Submittables also has a query letter. So you're asking the publisher in a more formal letter as to would they be interested in something you're writing. And again, you only have to write that once, and then you just can send it out with, of course, the name of the place on it, each different. And Submittable makes it easier. That's all I'm saying.
About a year ago, we had David Bowles on as a reader, and he also talks about some aspects of publishing. So if you're viewing this on the website, you would want to scroll upwards from where you see Sue's picture and today's date. So about a year and a half ago. David Bowles, Bowles, as I recall.
Boles.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
That's okay.
Sorry, Dave.
And the name of his organization is Cold River. But let's just keep correcting each other. Rick, we've got a good rapport going. Cold River Press.
And we're not even married.
Nice.
Okay, anybody have a poem to share?
I have.
Hi, Tabati, sure.
I just wanted to say a few words to Sue. Hi, Sue. Thank you very much for buying my poetry book. And I enjoyed when you were at the Heart Center for years. And then, I left after you and Joyce left. So it was good to see you after a long time.
It's good to see you too. And I've enjoyed your book very much.
Thank you. And I have a question. The same book had a lot of typos, and I have added like 4 or 5 more poems.
Mhm.
And I would like to have a second edition of that book. Now, I don't know what to do with it. Question is, should I go back to the same people who published it the first time? Or now that you have just given me some leads, or go to somebody new?
Well, it can't hurt to try with the first publication that the person that you went through.
Might be
That would
cheaper.
be a logical maybe first step. And say, I have some additional poems, and I've edited a couple of others. Would you be interested in publishing a second edition? If the response isn't yes, then you can. If the work is your own, of course, you can find ways to, of course, put those poems in a new book, especially if you have additional ones to add. And you can give yourself and the prior publisher credit for that in the new book. Now, it's a little tricky to do that, so I may not be as well versed in it as you'd want. You might want to get more of an expert opinion on how to do that. But the other thing is write more poems, get a second one going.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Tapati, you'll need to do a reading for us too. I wasn't aware you had a book.
Yeah, I had a book years ago.
That's awesome.
Okay, and yeah, do you have the time? I just
Yes, please.
Okay. It's a love poem. I was looking for your shadow in mine. The yearning, pounding heart was not yours, but mine. The blinding tears were not yours, but mine. The barbed wires holding back love were not yours, but mine. You wore a hat of indifference, not mine. Something will give, but that will be another time.
Oh.
I love that. Thank you.
Lovely.
Oh, I love the opening line. I think it was, I was looking for your shadow in mine.
Yes.
That's beautiful, dear.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Lots of things about that I love. So heartfelt. Anyone else?
I have a poem that I wrote for the last poetry workshop last Tuesday.
Sure.
It's a little bit of a downer. It's called The Deer Hunter, after the movie, The Deer Hunter.
Mhm.
Okay. I remember when we drank and danced all night at Frank and Lisa's wedding, went deer hunting at daybreak. Our number came up and we went off to war. Vietnam manufactured us into desperate soldiers. We tried to keep each other from cracking. You gambled with bullets instead of chips until it became an obsession. You shot yourself in the head. I brought you home in a body bag. We sat around the table after your funeral, scrounging for bacon and eggs, unsuccessfully fighting back the tears, broke out singing, God Bless America, raised our cups and toasted your memory.
It's pretty powerful.
It is very powerful. And one of those I couldn't tell was fiction or nonfiction, either way. But what I found touching in it was the singing of the song. What was it?
God Bless America.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That was touching to me.
For me too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Can I read one more?
Sure.
Okay. This is called Rainy Day. And I wrote this many years ago when I was suffering from fibromyalgia, which I don't suffer from anymore. Um, Rain keeps pouring down. I am unwilling to start my day. My hip is in a heap of knotted muscle, my spine wanting to spasm. Can't exercise today, can't stand and cook dinner, can't run over to the supermarket to purchase steaming food. Why am I in pain today? Did I speak word curses the other day? I call my church. I can't make it tonight. Please intercede for me. I plead. We will pray, they reply. I grind away the hours, waiting for the gush of the Holy Ghost.
Mm. That's heartfelt too. Thank you.
Hmm?
So that's
Thank
heartfelt
you.
too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's lovely.
I have one that I just recently wrote called Our Trip Around the Sun. My life was empty before you came. Green eyes, blonde hair, never be the same. Our first encounter, and I was hooked. Happy hour spent, that's all it took. Your cautious eyes with an open heart. We asked and probed till we had to part. We ate and drank, then you had to go. There was so much we wanted to know. A trip round the sun, filled with much joy. You are my girl, and I am your boy.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Oh, that's sweet.
The ping of your texts make my heart race. Sharing so much each day filled with grace. An invitation for one more trip. It goes by so fast, just like a blip. I love you more than I can express. To yearn for your touch and the caress.
Lovely. That's very sweet.
Beautiful.
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 Thank you.
Very sweet. Yeah.
I like the description with the blonde hair and the green eyes.
Yeah, I walked in and I went up to her, close to her face, and said, "Green eyes, cool." And she laughed.
Green eyes are very rare.
Yes, they are. They
Mhm.
are my favorite.
Well, if they weren't before, they certainly are now. You can tell that this poet is smitten. And likewise, as they wanted to know so much right away. That's great.
We keep going back to the same restaurant to try to find the waitress because we said, "Oh, this is our first date,"
Aw,
but she doesn't work there anymore. Anybody else? I see somebody, Virginia's iPad.
that's my good friend Virginia.
Oh, hi, Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for next month, we will have a local poet, someone that I learned about from the Sacramento News and Review. Her name is Brooke Noble. She's a poet, and she's also been working with youth in our community, helping them to express themselves through creative writing and poetry. So she will be reading for us next month. And Tapati, we will talk, and we'll get a date for you on the calendar.
That'll be lovely. Thank you.
We'd love that. Well, thank you, everyone.
Would you like to have me as a featured poet for one of these Sundays?
Yes, absolutely. We talked about that. We had you on the schedule one time, and we had to.
Yeah, we had to stop it. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was just too much going on. But
Yeah.
I'm free now.
Okay, I'll be in touch.
No.
I'll
Okay, good.
I'll send you an email tomorrow. I'll send
Okay,
you both
Thanks
an email.
everyone for listening.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you so much, Sue.
Okay, take care.
And thank you, Rick.
You bet.
As always, yes. Thank you to the host. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye.